Oh, motherfucker, you can't have my cornbread, that's for damn sure. Because if you try to take my cornbread, part 2 of my killing spree gonna begin up in here on your ass right now. If you think about my cornbread, they get the taste out your mouth, that's for damn sure. Now, fuck him, fuck that, because I'm from New York City, goddammit. Nobody take no cornbread from me. And that goes for you and any other you motherfucking farmers wanna try some shit. You fuck around with me, it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
Haters gonna hate.
What up, y'all? What's good? What's poppin', everybody? Good evening, y'all. It's Trey Fraser here, riding solo tonight. It's the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We're live on the website, barbershopsportstalkpodcast.com. Make sure you guys check us out on our social media platforms. We got the Facebook page. We also got the Instagram page at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Trey Fraser. Also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. So it's just me tonight, and Maestro had to take an absence this evening, but he's all good, and I kind of wish he was here because we definitely got some things that we need to get talked about tonight. That's very important, even more than sports, which is, what we are. We're a sports podcast. We talk sports. We mix in a little politics. We mix in a little bit of the black community's issues at the same time. And for that matter, this is really the point where things are really getting crazy. It's been a crazy weekend. A lot of events all across the country have been happening in regards to the death of one George Floyd. And before I get any further into that, I am going to open the phone lines tonight so that we can have a discussion about this, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that's listening that would like to give their 2 cents on exactly what's going on here. So if you guys want to reach out to the show, you can reach me at 301-928-9649. And I also put the number in our interactive chat group, which you can also find on barbershopsportstalkpodcast.com. Just find the live feed and just click the chat bubble, and it'll take you right to the chat room. And so here we are. Before I get into anything further, I just want to say rest in peace to one George Floyd, who was brutally murdered by the Minneapolis Police Department in cold blood last week. You had pictures and videos surfacing of him being taken into custody by police, and actually one cop having his knee on his neck, I should say, for approximately 9 minutes. A knee on someone's neck for 9 minutes, and you just kill him just like that. He had complications already, health-wise. That's not the way to apprehend somebody. But that cop will, he's going to have to pay for that. And thankfully, he's been arrested, which probably took longer than it needed to. And, oh, by the way, there were 3 other cops with him during this takedown of George Floyd over a counterfeit $20 bill, from what I heard. And if that's the case, then this is a sad state of affairs that we're in as a black community, as a community that for so long has not had great interactions with their respective police departments. It's been going on way too long. We have another example of it here. rest in peace to Breonna Taylor also, who was also gunned down by Louisville, Kentucky police, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's in the state of Kentucky. I don't remember if it was Louisville or not, but she was gunned down in her own bed while sleeping. And, that combined with Ahmaud Arbery, rest in peace. We talked about Ahmaud Arbery a couple of episodes ago, where he was taken down by a white man with a gun while he was jogging. And it's just too many of these. It's just too many of these hashtags. It's just a lot that so many people can take. It's so tiresome to have to keep going through this. And if people want to call this race baiting or trying to put race to the forefront, it is. We're more likely, as a black community, we're more likely to be gunned down by the police than any other race. It's just a fact. This is just it's amazing how and I'll get to COVID-19 in a second, because really I gotta talk about what's happening within all these cities over the weekend and into this week, because I think it's really amazing and it's really interesting how these things kind of developed. And again, I want to stick to the story of George Floyd. I want to definitely stick to that story. And again, rest in peace to George Floyd. Rest in peace to the homie. Shouts out to his family for going through what they're going through. Shouts out to the families of Breonna Taylor, to the family of Ahmaud Arbery. This is just one of those things where you just get kind of sick and tired of dealing with this. It's like one death after another by the police, by the hands of the police, and I just can't understand why this is taking place here. So yeah, I just kind of want to get into kind of how we got here, right? And as a matter of fact, I got a guest in here. She just popped into my studio here. So before she bees any little bit more disruptive, I'm gonna take a quick little 2-minute break and try to see what's going on here, and then I'll come back. Or matter of fact, she is leaving right now. Okay, well that's a good thing. She's walking out the studio. This is probably the best opportunity for me right now to lock this door, and so that she doesn't come back in here. All right. Maybe I don't have to take a break anymore, guys. Now I could kind of get right to it. So how did we get here, right? And again, if you're listening, I got the lines open. 301-928-9649 is the number to dial in if you guys want to get in here and talk about what you saw over the weekend, what your thoughts about how this whole thing is kind of developed into what it's become now. What's the storyline right now? And for me, it's still George Floyd, but this thing is kind of taking so many different turns here. So last week, Friday, and I think it was Friday, so I get up in the morning, getting ready for the day, and obviously because of COVID-19, we've been working from home the past few months. And so I get up, come upstairs here, get the laptop, and got the TV on to see what's going on. And kind of like what you expected the citizens of Minneapolis to get out in the streets and do their protest and, do their thing. And you got this reporter, the CNN reporter, I think his name was Omar Jimenez. He, I know his face because he used to work for Channel 11 here in Baltimore. And so that's kind of how I knew his name and kind of his face and whatnot. But he's doing live reporting from Minnesota in Minneapolis. And the guy is trying to report on what's going on within the protest. And this was actually the night after the police department, the precinct there caught fire. And I think the Target that was right across the street, I think that caught fire too, and there was some looting involved there. But getting to the next day, Friday, so Omar's doing his interview, he's doing his report on what's going on in the streets in Minneapolis. The cops come to his face. He's got his camera crew with him. He's got his producer with him. And next thing you know, he's asking the guys, hey, look, we'll go wherever you want us to be planted at. If you don't like us in this spot, we can go someplace else. Next thing you know, they take Omar and they start handcuffing him, and Omar's like, yo, can you tell me why I'm being arrested? So now we're arresting reporters. We're arresting journalists at protests. This is just the kind of thing that has been sort of a microcosm of the black community versus the police department. Omar Jimenez is a black person. I think he is of some kind of Hispanic descent, but he's black for certain. And they arrested a black journalist on site and took him off along with his camera crew, who, by the way, I think one guy was Hispanic and I think the producer, was white. Meanwhile, you had other reporters that were white on site were approached by police and didn't get the same treatment that Omar got. So I'm watching this on live TV and I'm saying to myself, yo, they really arrested a journalist right on site. They took him away in handcuffs. It had been maybe about an hour and a half before they released him. And then he starts doing his report again. And I just had to shake my head because this has just been one of those things where police brutality against black people, and now you're sort of seeing the microcosm with what happened to Omar Jimenez as a black journalist on site doing a report on what's going on there, and he gets arrested just for no reason. It was really no reason. I mean, the cops tried to say that they told him to move and they didn't do it, which was not true because I watched it live where the cops said, hey, we need you to move. And then Omar complied and said, hey, just let us know where you want us to be and we will be at that spot. And I don't know what happened in the middle of that. The mic didn't capture what the cops were necessarily saying out loud, but next thing you know, he's in cuffs and he's being hauled away. So that kind of had me kind of upset a little bit. The guys, he showed his credentials even before he got taken away, which, was really mind baffling. And then when they released him, it was our bad. We just wanted to make sure you were who you were. And it's nah, fam, y'all, cut it out. He showed you credentials. He showed you he was with CNN. There was no excuse for that dust up. It really was no excuse for that. But Omar, he was professional. He told the report what happened, and I gotta give him props because I don't know if that was me. I would have been spazzing out. I would have been really on these dudes' cases right now. But maybe he is, but for the camera, he's got to be professional, and so so there goes that. So Friday you had that take place, and then the next thing you know, more cities start to get involved with their respective protest. And I see Kesey, a.k.a. the Professor X, and the X Squad up here in the chat room. What's up, Kesey? Hey, man, if you want to call in, man, you want to talk about what's going on in Atlanta, man, the number's 301-928-9649, man. Just, hit me up if you want to talk, man. I'm just kind of going through, what I've witnessed throughout the weekend up to this point. So Friday night comes, and Atlanta. I saw Atlanta do their protest Friday night. It got out of hand. CNN, the headquarters down there, they kind of, they kind of, put graffiti on the CNN logo out front. They smashed some windows. I even think at one point there was a cameraman inside like the lobby of CNN, and there were protesters on the other side of the glass, and they threw what it looked like some kind of firecracker or some explosion inside where the cops were on the inside part of the lobby. And man, that just got out of hand down there in Atlanta, man. So Kesey, I'm glad you guys were, safe and, sound, and if any of you guys think about going down to protest, no matter what city you're in, if you're thinking about going to protest, just make sure that y'all be safe, y'all be smart, go there with a purpose, don't do anything stupid, don't do nothing crazy, and just be safe about it. Kesey says Lenox Mall was looted. Yes, I did hear about Lenox Mall. I heard about Buckhead, and I guess Lenox Square Mall is in Buckhead, if I'm not mistaken. I also heard about the College Football Museum, Hall of Fame Museum, got destroyed, the storefront there. I heard a couple of other places got looted, and it really, it got ugly. It got ugly down there. And I got to give some props to Mayor Bottoms, Keisha Lance Bottoms, because she was pissed off. She was really pissed off in her press conference, telling everybody, go home, don't tear the city up. This is not how George Floyd would want us to, do this way. And Killer Mike was pretty good with his speech. T.I. caught some heat, right? T.I., and you know what, I kind of get it from his perspective, and, I heard a blogger from Minnesota talk about this. She wasn't really happy about it, but I get where T.I. is coming from, but there's no way on earth, if you're T.I., you can't say that, this is Wakanda, so don't tear up this city. If y'all want to do that, y'all do that someplace else. We don't want nobody to tear up nothing. Let's be totally honest about this. We don't want to tear up nothing for real. All we want to do is just get out there, protest the right way, and let's go home. But obviously, cats did what they did down there, and T.I. took some smoke for those words. Now I understand, because in Atlanta, aka Chocolate City, there's about 50% of black people, or I should say 50% of the businesses in Atlanta are owned by black people. So I get the point to protect your businesses, your black businesses. But if you're T.I., you can't say go somewhere else with that. Don't mess this thing up over here, what we got going on, because this is Wakanda. Like I didn't take that too good from T.I. Let me say what's up to a couple people in the chat room. Miss Mocha Bella, repping the X Squad. What's going on? Number one Chief Rock of Jersey Vern, repping that BFTN network right there. Built for this network. That's what it's called. So hey guys, Chief. I know I talked to you on your show yesterday. You're more than happy to give me a call here. I got the lines open. The number's 301-928-9649. Mocha Bella, I know you don't talk that much, but I certainly would like to hear from you on what's been going on in Miami. I've heard some good things about what's been going on down in Miami. I'd like to get your perspective on that. And, I'm just kind of going through, just talking about what's been going on in each city. I kind of went into the Minnesota part of, what's been going on. And obviously Minnesota is the hub of everything. It's kind of where this kind of started and where we've led to right now with George Floyd's death happening in Minneapolis. And let me get back to the Minneapolis part for a second here. I had my aunt text me the other day, and she said right after they tore up the Target down there, she said, "What did Target ever do to get looted?" And I texted back and I said nothing, but quite frankly, Target is a top 5 Fortune 500 company, so I could care less about, or I don't feel as sorry for Target, because this is what Target's going to do. Target is going to get some people to come in, and they're going to build that thing right back up. And I got a phone call here, and it's the homie Maestro Styles. It's on the line. Maestro Styles, what's poppin', man? Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, man. What's good? That's what's up. That's what's up. No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, yeah. Maestro. Maestro. Hold on. I'm sorry, man. The folks in the chat can't hear you. I'm trying to get the volume up to a certain level, and for some reason, I'm not having much luck here. Um, that's right. That's right. Uh, yeah, I do, but it's coming in like real like low, like the. I did that already. Yeah, I did that too. I did that too. Yeah, that's definitely on. Yeah, they all the way up. I tell you, oh, go ahead, go ahead. No, you're not muted at all. But I tell you what I'll do, man. I'm just gonna put you on speaker, and yeah, yeah, I'm assuming I'm already on speakers with the button. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, man. Yeah, man. Like I was saying, I haven't processed it, man. I haven't processed it yet. It's so much going on, and there's so many emotions to work through before you even get to the meat of, what to do next. But let me say first, rest in peace to George Floyd and to, yep, Breonna Taylor and to Ahmaud and hell, while we here, to Philando Castile and to Trayvon Martin. I mean, like, it, right now, while we are supposed to be socially distanced and coronavirus and all this is supposed to be going on, this is the time where we are seeing um, social injustice rise. And it's what is this? Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? Like, I just don't know, bro. And I don't know where you at with it, because we haven't spoke. Um, but I don't know, man. Yeah, I tell you what, man. It is interesting though. It's so interesting how. Are you outside? I'm a little bit everywhere right now. Oh, all right. Nah, because I was hearing some background stuff, but it's cool. It's cool though. But the way I kind of look at it, and I was actually gonna get to it, but since you called in, I might as well just kind of get into it. It's gonna be interesting to see in the next couple of weeks how they start, because COVID-19 just all of a sudden just went out the window with everything that's been talked about over the weekend, with the protests, the looting, the rioting, the unrest. And I mean, we're not just talking about in Minnesota. We're talking about like every major city from New York to DC to Chicago, LA, to smaller cities like Buffalo, New York, Salt Lake City, Utah. Like, really? Like everybody has a protest. Like, even here up my way, Howard County had a little protest going on this afternoon. So I could imagine how many other little smaller counties and other places are doing the exact same thing. So everybody is out, everybody is in large crowds, and it just seems as if COVID-19 all of a sudden just became, an afterthought. And it's going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks when this kind of thing kind of clears. Do these cases go up? Are we going to see a rise in how many cases there are? Are we going to see a steady dosage of cases? Is it going to be like a smaller dip? Because I tell you what, man, if there's a small dip in cases over the next few weeks, or even if it's steady, I'm willing to bet that the federal government is going to have an out to basically say, hey, everything's back to normal. Let's get back to work. Let's get back to sports. Let's open everything up. Our numbers went down. Our numbers are still steady, even despite all the crowds in 100 different places throughout the country. We beat this thing. We're here. Let's do it. I feel like that's where we're headed, if that is to be the case.
And again, I don't know. I'm just listening to you and reacting off of what you're saying. Or what if they did all this to get us to come outside so they can infect us more?
Yeah, that's possible too. I thought about it that way also.
Man,
absolutely.
I just don't. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated, motivated, depressed, happy, creative. Don't want to turn on my phone, but I gotta keep looking at it. It's crazy. How do you feel about the protesting? I'll tell you how I feel. I'm sorry, I ain't mean to cut you off. I'll tell you how I feel. I'll tell you my thoughts.
Right.
I don't know how I feel yet. They protested. It's peaceful protest. Well, some peaceful, some not so peaceful.
Yep.
Looting. I mean, all these things are going on all over the nation and probably the world at this point.
Yep. And let's be clear. And I don't mean to cut you off, Maestro. Let's also be clear about this too. You have black people protesting peacefully. You have white people protesting peacefully. You have black people looting and rioting. You have white people looting and rioting and starting stuff. You have undercover cops that are starting fires. They're breaking into department stores.
Yeah.
You have these guys that are in all black with umbrellas and masks starting this stuff and igniting this stuff. And it makes us as a community look terrible.
Yeah. See, so my views on it.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I was kind of like, we shouldn't, not we shouldn't, but like maybe this ain't the right. I'm at the point where I'm not gonna tell nobody how to respond to what's going on, how to process their emotions, their anger, their fear, their hatred, or whatever emotions they have due to what's been going on. I'm not here to judge nobody. If you feel like looting and rioting is your way, then by all means loot and riot. If you feel like peaceful protesting is your way, then by all means peacefully protest. If you feel like you want more information and to strategize, then by all means, let's find out a solution and let's strategize. I feel like if we, I feel like this is the easiest way to martial law, and martial law in an election year, what I just learned today, means that President Trump is going to still be president until martial law, at least until martial law is no more.
Right.
So this might just be a ploy. This COVID-19, this pandemic, this all this that's running us into martial law, and if that's the case, then it's like y'all killing, y'all real legit sacrificing black people for the so he can be president.
Yeah.
Like I heard, I wasn't out there last night, but I overheard that they was throwing tear gas out in D.C. so they can clear the way for the president to take a picture on social media.
I watched it live on TV.
So they were like, I mean, people that were outside peacefully protesting were attacked so the president could take a picture for social media. It's not President Trump, you know. I mean, if you want to push them out the way, you can. Why are you even trying to take a picture in front of a church? Like, that's what you're doing? Like, it's social media time? It's selfie time? Like, it's just, it's so much, the term analysis paralysis comes to mind. It's just like, it's so much to process. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, like what's next, right? Like what's next after this, right?
What's now? What do we do now? I mean, it's happening right now. It's happening. People are being arrested. People are, like, let's be clear. It took hundreds of, maybe thousands of people to get arrested just for the guy who, started all this to get arrested.
Yeah.
And he got third degree in manslaughter. Let's be very clear. I'm not confident that he's going to jail off for third degree in manslaughter. At least not for the time that he should be getting. Right.
There's a lack of confidence right there, and even on my side too, because the way I feel about how Minneapolis police are handling this, those other three guys should have been arrested the same time they went to go get this guy, because it's clear as day in that video that those other three cops were complicit in the death of George Floyd. That is just unbelievable, but it's not unbelievable that these guys are still home, and we're still trying to figure out why is it just third degree. Why this isn't first degree murder. Why are we lowering this kind of charge? I mean, okay, you arrested him. Okay, fine. I mean, but still, we're out here. We're protesting. People are tearing stuff up. It's crazy. Everybody wants these three guys arrested. They want these guys held accountable, all at the same time.
And we want this shit to stop happening, man. Like, it's just, and I get that it's not gonna ever, per se stop ever. Like, it's never gonna happen again. I get that it's gonna happen again at some point in life, but it's just like, damn, like this is blatant. This is holding the man down for 8 minutes, 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Two of those minutes I heard where he was unresponsive, and it's just like, damn, like after, my God, what else do you need? What else do you need, man? That's my cue right there. I don't know if y'all can hear it in the audio, but that is my cue. But yeah, man, jeez Louise, man. I just prayers for, in closing, I guess, prayers for us, man, for that, and not just for us as a world, as a nation of people, man. Because it's what I'll take from it is that it's just not white people, it's oppressive white people, and it's like, it's like, I read something today that said, if you can understand that it's I'm like, we are tearing shit up as a people for a small percentage of people.
Yeah.
So it's like, instead of just dealing with every individual instance, like, these motherfuckers need to be dealt with, and because they weren't dealt with, the motherfuckers that didn't dealt with need to be dealt with, and then leave everybody else alone. I mean, that would be I think a more serviceable solution than attacking the entire construct. Now, again, I understand that we're talking about systemic racism, but I'm just talking about in this instance, because let's be clear. Well, shit, I can't even say I believe that, because I was you were aware of what the Boston Tea Party was. I just found this out. That's why I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Like, the Boston Tea Party was a protest. It was a, you know what I'm saying? I don't remember all the details, but it was a protest that got results because they protested and they affected the system in a way where the establishment had to change it because of how they affected it. So,
but they tore stuff up during that Tea Party, to my understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
So who am I to say that these cats that turn up, establishments are wrong? Because somebody was informed at some point that, this was before.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking many, many years ago too, and that's not to say that because it's years ago that it can't work during this time. It's just that based off of, and I'm not even talking about the stuff over the weekend. I'm talking about the Freddie Gray riots. I'm talking about riots in New York and Crown Heights, and Rodney King riots, and things like that over the last 20-something years. That stuff has led to, or has helped, gentrification out in a very great way. I talked about this earlier. My aunt asked me, what did Target have to do to get, have their stores looted? And I said they did nothing, but the reality is that Target is a Fortune 500 company. They're a top 5 Fortune 500 company. And quite frankly, I don't feel as bad for them because I know that Target will get themselves right back on their feet. Right. The mom and pop store, which I have an affection for because I used to work in one, it's hard for them to come back from something like this. And then you add on top of the fact that most of these mom and pop shops were closed already because they're not essential because of this COVID-19 stuff. And now I gotta walk to my storefront. I gotta walk to see my damaged store. All my goods are gone. All my products are destroyed after being closed for so long.
It's systematic, man.
Yeah, we can't come back from this.
And oh my God, bro, this is systematic, man. Like, this was intentional. Like, this was like
it was a setup. It was a plan.
This was a plan to, like, this might have been a plan to destroy small businesses.
Yeah.
Because that's the only power. That's the only way we have. That's the only way we have to really gain wealth is, starting with these businesses and then building them into major corporations like Target did and Walmart did. They eventually, they started all small and eventually built wealth and built assets and became the corporations they are today. And without a small storefront or without these, like, this is a systematic plan to destroy small businesses and seemingly minority businesses.
Yeah.
Because we ain't nowhere in the suburbs crashing down small businesses over there.
Right. And let me say something else too before I let you go there. Let's remember too, there's about 40 million unemployment claims out right now. I don't know if that equals 40 million people per se, but that's a lot of unemployment claims, over this COVID-19. And I said before that this situation was going to get worse before it got better. Now, I didn't predict it would kind of end up like this, like we're at now, but I said it. At some point, times are going to get tough. People are going to get desperate. And I think what you're seeing in all these cities, I think you're seeing support for George Floyd. I think you're seeing people that are pissed off about not knowing when they're going to get their next check. I think you're seeing people that are fed up with the unemployment system, with this COVID-19. I think there's people also that are non-believers of this coronavirus. I think what you're seeing in these streets is people saying enough is enough. A combination of what happened to George Floyd with people that don't know when they're going to get their next meal, and it all blew up. It all became one big explosion.
And it was a planned explosion. It was a calculated explosion.
Yeah, like it was the perfect setup. Yeah. It was, and we fell for the bait. I mean, I'm gonna call it like it is. We as a people, we fell for the bait.
I mean, but how could we not?
I don't know. I mean, if we want to keep the storyline George Floyd, then I mean, the only people that really should be protesting, or the only area that really should be going through this, is Minneapolis. Because look, New York City, they tearing New York City up, man.
But I don't know, man. Like I said,
they looting Foot Lockers in Philly. They doing it
everywhere. I get what you're saying, but
you got white people coming out with bows and arrows, and you got white people coming out with machetes and all this stuff. Like it's crazy.
And we're not even talking about we're not even really getting into the people who just want to do some dumb shit. Like there are white people who go home and, like, for instance, on my Instagram feed yesterday, there was this rapper from DC who was out protesting. He walked up on some white folks.
Yep.
Who was messing some property up. He asked them where, he walked up to the white folks, like, where you from?
Yep.
He said DC. He said, you from DC? What high school you go to? He couldn't tell him what high school he went to. He was like, oh, so you're not from here. So what are you doing out here fucking my shit up?
Right.
You're not even from here. Like, you don't even have this issue. Why are you in DC? You're not even from DC, but you in DC tearing up the city like you mad or you angry or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right,
so
right.
Dealing with the people that are just out there to be out there. You know what I'm saying? We're not even dealing with the people who might have been paid to be out there. We only focusing on the people that are hurt and that people that feel like they got that personally have reasons to be out there. And so we got at least 3 different types of people with 3 different agendas out there tearing the city up. And it's just like, all we doing is talking to the people who have valid reasons to be out there.
Yeah.
So that's just a whole nother angle. I really wish that I could talk more. I got a situation.
Yeah, you said enough though, man. That's some good insight, man.
Man, I don't know. I was really looking forward to hashing this out or trying to hash this out.
Yeah.
And but I'm sure we'll still be. I feel like this ain't going to be the end of it. So.
No. I'm. You know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna end the show. I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna turn on CNN or one of these, news channels, and I'm gonna see somebody lighting something on fire.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate,
and then
man.
What's gonna happen? And I'll leave with this. And then what's gonna happen when, to all these people that are protesting for the right reasons, and whether violently or non-violently, for all those that are protesting for the right reasons, what's gonna happen when your family member gets shot or your loved one gets shot, man? And I'll leave it on that, man. I really gotta go now.
All right, man. All right, bro. Love you, homie.
Love, man.
All right, no doubt.
Love, man.
No doubt. Yeah, that was the homie Maestro Styles, one half of the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast, folks. Yeah, I wish I could have had his audio a little bit better than that earlier. But yeah. I mean, it's some good points that he made, and again, folks, it's me, Trey Fraser, Rotten Solo tonight. I got the phones open. The number's 301-928-9649. Let me know what's going on in your city, where you from, where you live. I'm definitely gonna kind of touch on what I saw in each of these cities, and I kind of briefly kind of went into it with Maestro about what was going on there, but he makes a great point there. This seems like this was set up perfectly to get everybody to come outside. Because, what did I say previously? We talked about the Freddie Gray riots here in Baltimore. That was just Baltimore. We talked about the LA riots we talked about the Rodney King riots in LA. That was mainly LA. I know there were quite a few other places that, did their thing as well. But for the most part, that was Los Angeles, doing Los Angeles. And then, with some of these other cases, it's usually strictly in that particular city. I've never seen anything like this where from city to city, state to state, there's large groups of people protesting and they're tearing their own communities up. I've never seen anything like this. And Maestro brought up something that I was going to get to also, and I'll give you guys my feelings on this. What I saw yesterday with the tear gas in D.C., just so that the president could just walk across the street and take a picture with a Bible in his hand in front of the church, that was just for show. That was for show. I thought it was very, I thought that was a very dictator-like move on his part. And, believe me, there's folks, and even myself included, that believe that this guy has the mindset of a dictator. Like, everything he said yesterday from, saying that he'll deploy the U.S. military on these people, deploying weapons, deploying dogs, because people are getting too closer to the White House, that kind of a thing. Yeah, all that stuff is, like, it's for show, and I'll be honest with you, I was a bit concerned about what would happen if that actually happened, but thank God, and maybe, maybe 45 won't flip his lid any more than he's flipped it, but I forget the guy's name. He's the governor of Illinois. He's a Democrat, but he came on TV and basically said that the president can't deploy U.S. military without the consent of each state's respective governor. So at least, you have that, but then again, with everything that's been going on, you just never know what Donald could do. You just never know what he could do. Miss Mocha Bella's in the chat. She says, did you see the comparison of 45 holding the Bible as did Hitler did in a picture? I did not see that comparison, but I think, Mocha, I think you're proving my point in a sense that this is a very dictator-like type of move that he made. It was such a dictator move, and that worries me. That worries me. I mean, everything about what happened this weekend worries me. I worry for my kids. My son he'll be 6 years old. He's autistic, so there's going to be a point in time where I'm going to have to sit him down, probably with some law enforcement, and kind of go through an exercise of what to do when you're approached by police. And, and for folks that don't have autistic kids, these are one of the things that they tell you when your child gets older, that he's going to have to go through these kinds of exercises for practice, just so that if it does happen in real life, that, he'll be better prepared and better ready to know what he has to do. And hopefully, it doesn't go beyond that. I pray for my son's sake that it doesn't go beyond that. But I'm worried. I'm really worried about the direction of this country and where we're headed right now. My mother called me, what was it? Friday. No, she called me on Sunday. And she called me crying because she was watching the video of George Floyd's neck being compressed by that man's knee. And she said to me, son, that could have been you. And I just had to sit and think for a minute, and I'm just shaking my head like, damn, like, she's right. She's right. That could have been me. That could have been Maestro. That could have been Chief Rocker. That could have been any one of us black people out there. We could have been George Floyd in that situation. And, our kids could have been George Floyd in that situation. I'm really worried about what's gonna happen down the pike here. I'm really concerned. I can't honestly say that, with everything going on with this so-called coronavirus. Cause see, I don't even know if coronavirus is real now or not. I'm really skeptical, and I brought up the point that folks have had this non-belief in it during this pandemic. But now I'm just sitting here thinking, man, I don't know now. I have no clue what to expect, what's gonna happen if this thing is true. And let's say the cases do spike up. Let's say this is real and the cases spike up. So we're gonna go back to being shut down. We're probably not gonna even get kids to go back to school in the fall. We're probably not gonna get sports, and just so I could be clear, I really don't care about sports right now. I could give a damn about if baseball ever gets their season going this year. With the way they're fussing over money and who's gonna get what. If y'all can't make up your mind, if y'all can't play the season, then y'all could be gone. I could really care less about that. I know the NBA's got a plan in place and they're supposed to approve something by Thursday. Right now, I'm just really not thinking about the NBA right now. Football, I'm not thinking about football either. I'm really not thinking about any of this stuff right now. And I understand people got excited about seeing golf last week, NASCAR, and some of these other UFC. I get people are a little excited about it, but I really don't care right now. They say sports is a distraction. Well, guess what? Ain't nothing to watch right now. Because that's exactly what people will be doing just to take their minds off of what's going on in these streets. And right now, there is no sports. So we gonna deal with this. We gonna deal with this hand by hand. We gonna talk about this for days to come. Maybe weeks to come. Who knows if or when this thing's gonna end. I expect to go downstairs after this show, turn the TV on, and somebody's tearing up something. I really expect that. I do want to give a shout out though. I do want to give a shout out to the city of Baltimore. I really felt like between Baltimore and Newark, New Jersey, those two cities I thought held their own in terms of not tearing up property. Baltimore, I thought, did great. Now, they had the incident with the lady. I don't know if you guys saw this on video on social media, but there was a lady in the street. Cops confronted her. She slapped the cop in the face, and then the cop behind her clocked her in the face, and she fell to the ground. That was the only incident in the city that took place during these protests, and I think one cop car got vandalized. But other than that, the city of Baltimore has been, holding it down, maintaining their composure. And I gotta say, me not being from here, but, living here, that I'm very proud of the citizens of Baltimore and the people there, that they're able to kind of do their thing. And, and the same thing for Newark, New Jersey also. Shout out to Chief Rocker, Jersey Vern, who's a Newark, New Jersey native there. Again, folks, if you guys want to call in, the number's 301-928-9649 if you guys want to jump in on this conversation and, let me know what's going on in your town, in your city, what the temperature's like and all that good stuff. Since Mocha's in the chat room, I did see a little bit of what was going on in Miami. I do want to credit the police department there, and I don't know if it was Miami PD or another town's police department there, but I saw clips of that particular police department actually take a knee in solidarity with the protesters while they were out there. I think that might have been Sunday. It might have been Sunday or Saturday. I don't remember, but I saw that and I was like, at least both sides are diffusing the situation. Nobody's trying to take it out on nobody. I thought they did a good thing in Miami. I'll add Miami to that list also of them, kind of holding down their own. Now, I did see someone light a car on fire in Miami, but other than that, I didn't see any real destruction of any property or cars, businesses. I really didn't see that. So, Mocha, if you saw something different, let me know. But from my vantage point, I thought Miami, next to Baltimore and Newark, New Jersey, I thought Miami kind of held their own. I talked about Philly a little bit with Maestro, where there's a lot of looting taking place in Philly. Foot Lockers, Downtown Locker Room, which I didn't know was in Philly, by the way. For those that don't know, Downtown Locker Room is actually headquartered here in Baltimore. There's some DC locations, a lot of Baltimore locations, and I had no idea they had some in Philly. But yeah, they looted that up there also. Philly got out of hand a little bit. A lot of fires, a lot of destruction of property, businesses in those communities, particularly I think North Philly or West Philly, one of the two. It definitely wasn't a good look for them. My hometown, New York City. It's tough, man. I gotta tell you. So I'll tell you a quick story. So I text my father's girlfriend this morning because I saw some stuff on Twitter this morning, and I saw that someone was looting stores on Burnside Avenue in the Bronx. For folks that don't know, that's where my pops and his girlfriend, they live in the Bronx. Burnside Avenue is a street they live on, which is also a street where there's a lot of stores and shops and stuff like that. So I text her and I said, hey, I heard there was some looting on Burnside. And she texted me back and she said that, I was absolutely right, that there was there was some looting that was taking place there. And she also told me that looking out her window, she watched a lot of people go into stores, beauty shops, electronic stores, things of that nature. And then there's like a Jimmy Jazz, which is kind of the equivalent to Downtown Locker Room in terms of a clothing store. They raided the Jimmy Jazz. They took a lot of stuff. They took sneakers, clothes, hoodies. They took all types of things. And, just New York City as a whole. Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, just a lot of destruction there. I saw a cop get run over in the Bronx on video last night. I saw a couple of guys raid the Macy's in Midtown Manhattan. I saw vehicle fires in Brooklyn and Manhattan. Saw a lot of things. Just just not looking good. I mean, New York is in a bad spot right now because, you know, New York is also the hub of the majority of these coronavirus cases. And to see as many people be out there, and remember, we're talking 5 boroughs, so every borough had their respective protests. And, you know, some boroughs had multiple protests. So you're talking almost thousands of people, probably in the 10,000s. And given social distancing has become a thing, it's definitely been broken in New York for certain. So it's not looking good in my hometown. It's definitely not looking good. I hope that tonight with the curfew, I think the curfew was 7 o'clock. They foolishly had it at 11 o'clock last night. So hopefully they learned their lesson. And, you know, I mean, to be honest, the curfews are really not going to make much of a difference. If folks are going to be out there, they're going to be out there. If they're going to loot, they're going to loot, you know. It's just, they wait for night. They wait till the sun sets, and then that's when everything goes crazy. You hear all these reports during the day, oh, it's a peaceful protest, and, you know, and let me be clear, I'm all for peaceful protesting. I love it when people can maintain composure, passion, and get out there and do some good. But it goes without saying, of course it's going to be a good peaceful protest during the day, but when that sun sets, that's when, you know, the cats that really ain't about the cause, whether you're black or white, that's when they're going to show up and show out. And so, you know, we'll see what happens moving forward, but I wanted to get into a few more things. And again, folks, it's Trey Fraser here, solo tonight, Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, barbershopsportstalkpodcast.com. You guys can reach me here on the phone. I got the phone lines open, 301-928-9649. Let me know, you know, what's going on in your respective city, you know, how you feeling about things, and what's your outlook on everything overall. I did want to get into a couple more things though, and I mentioned it briefly while Maestro was on. Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm still like baffled that of all places Salt Lake City had a protest in, you know, of that sort. You had this dude come out to the protest with a bow and arrow and thought that he was going to make some noise with it. And he just thought wrong. And he got beat up by a bunch of protesters. And he deserved it. I mean, you don't show up with weapons. You don't put people's life in danger during these kinds of things. And he deserved it. He deserved it for certain. Dallas, Texas. I mentioned the guy with the machete. Now, there was a report early on, because I saw the video. There was like a 40-second, maybe like a 20-something second clip. That was the first clip I saw where the guys were like beating this dude to a pulp. Like this white dude. I don't know if he's like got some kind of, you know, like true European in him or not, if he's just straight white, but that dude just got like beat the pants off of. And he was left there on the ground, and I thought the dude was just dead because he wasn't moving. He was in a pool of blood, and I didn't know what happened. So I get the longer version of the video, which was about 41 seconds. And this dude is chasing other protesters, particularly black. This white dude was chasing black people all around the street with a machete. I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? You're chasing multiple people with a machete and you're by yourself? What do you think's going to happen to you? And sure enough, he got his ass kicked. And he deserved it. He deserved it 100%. So the backstory, which I found out yesterday, so this guy went to the hospital. He didn't die. He went to the hospital, got checked out. He, you know, whatever he got done, stitches or whatever. And I'm surprised he was actually able to tweet. But and I didn't see the tweet, but it was confirmed that he tweeted and said that he was okay and that all he was doing was trying to protect a bar that he loves going to in that area. So, the rumored story was that he was a business owner and he was protecting his business, when all actuality, he was just protecting a bar that he loves to go to. So, bruh, so you're telling me you chased people with a machete. You should be in jail. That's attempted murder. Like, straight up. That is pure 100% attempted murder. You put people's lives in danger all because you're protecting something that's not even yours. Okay, yeah, you love to go to it, but it's not even yours. You can't claim it. So, why on earth would you do that? And again, you got beat to a pulp. You probably deserved it, for getting yourself in that situation. But you should be in jail right now, because that's straight attempted murder right there. I want to say what up to Big Kev 303, who's one of our normal supporters on this podcast. Big Kev, appreciate you, man. And if you want, man, I got the phone line open, 301-928-9649. I know you normally don't like to call in, but I'm interested to see, because Denver, your city, Denver was also one of the cities where protests took place. I didn't necessarily see a lot of destruction in your city, so at least from my vantage point, I would at least think that, okay, things were kind of going okay with maybe a couple of hiccups here and there, but nothing serious like what we saw in bigger cities like New York and Philly and, even in DC. DC, me and Maestro, we talked about that briefly, where, they're setting stuff on fire there. It just got so bad down there. And even with the president and his, foolishness yesterday, that was just like inexplicable. Like just calling for attention on the part of him. But yeah, Big Kev, if you want to call in, feel free to do so, man. Let me know how you doing, how's the family doing, and what's your city popping like? What's the temperature there? What's another city I saw? Chicago, Chi-Town. It started off pretty good, and then and this was probably Saturday. I think this was Saturday. It just turned for the worse. Just some of the visuals I saw. Guys trying to turn over a white van, and I guess it was either a news van or it was a police van. Bunch of guys tried to turn it over. They were unsuccessful. And here's another thing. And I meant to mention this to Maestro when he was on earlier. We talked about this whole thing kind of being a setup, this whole thing being planned. Did you guys notice that in some places there's like a pallet of bricks on the side of the curb on most of these protest routes? Have y'all noticed that? Like, I seen it in a video. A guy was shooting a video, and it was like off in a far distance from as he was talking. And I looked at it, and I was like, there's a pallet of bricks just right there, and there's no construction going on whatsoever. Like, that's strange. So, I see more of it in these videos, on photos, on Twitter, and all that stuff. And it turns out folks are actually planning to set these pallets of bricks up. And in most cases, it's a pallet of rocks. I've seen that too. I believe I've seen them in DC also. They're setting these places up, these spots for these bricks and these rocks, so that when nighttime comes, they'll be able to use these things and, start, pelting people with these things. This stuff is planned. I can't, say it enough that there's a lot of agendas that are being played out during these protests. And again, I just want to emphasize that folks are there for George Floyd. People are there because they're fed up with being home. They're fed up with being unemployed. They're fed up with a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of things. And then there's people that just have an agenda to just blow shit up. Destroy things. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that taking place. And so we're at this point now, and I don't know. I don't know what's next. I don't know what to think right now. Just to kind of, turn it into a sports perspective for a little bit here. There's no sports. There's no stadium work, which means people who you normally see working at the hot dog stand, the soda stands, the team stores in these respective stadiums. Most of these people don't have alternate jobs that they can go to. So for those folks that work at the stadiums, even security, these people don't have secondary jobs. So they're desperate. They're desperate for something. And I don't know what the state of what's going to happen is. And again, I'm not really thinking much about it now, but I'm just thinking about it in a perspective that people aren't really, people don't have alternatives to make money. Whereas if there was baseball, at least these people would have jobs at the stadium. NBA, the playoffs would be going on right now. People would have jobs at the arenas right now, serving food, working at the team store, security. They would have these jobs, and unfortunately, they don't have it. Big Kev 303 in the chat room says, "No looting here, but they do have an 8:00 p.m. curfew in place for those protesting." Okay, so Denver, Colorado, one of those places that has enforced the curfew. And I'm assuming that's 8:00 Mountain Time, which would be your time. That's probably the perfect time for it. That's probably around the time where the sun sets at this point. And still, after 8:00 even here on the East Coast, it's still relatively light outside. But when you start to get into 8:30, it starts to, wind down a little bit. And then, that's when folks, want to come out and do whatever it is, they have their intention set on doing. So it's just a lot going on in this country. I don't know what to expect at this point. I don't know, listen, it's a lot of concerns right now. And again, I want to make sure that I emphasize that the story should still be about George Floyd. It definitely should be about him. And if you guys want to throw in Breonna Taylor, most definitely do that. They had protests in Kentucky and Louisville too. They had some incidents, and I noticed some updates with some stuff because some cops got hurt, some cops got killed. I think some citizens got killed in some of these cities, St. Louis, Louisville, Kentucky, just to name a few. So, if anybody, passed away off of any of these incidents, definitely rest in peace. But this is just sometimes that I'm just like, what the hell to expect now? What is going on? Schools are closed. And they've been for a while, and the school year is done. What about summer camp? I know some places have it, other places don't. What about school for the fall for these kids? It's just a question of just unknowns right now. It's just really just I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on what's happening, but I think one thing's for certain. This was planned. It was planned. I really believe that something is going on behind the scenes. I don't know what. I don't know. I mean, in an election year, you just never know. You really never know in an election year. But this has just been one of those years. 2020 has been it's been a movie. They took Kobe away from us. They took Andre Harrell from us. They took some of our legends away from us early on in the year. Then this virus shows up. Now schools are closed. Now businesses have to shut down that aren't essential. Some people losing their jobs. Unemployment rates have gone through the roof. Unemployment claims that haven't been paid out yet. People are still waiting for their checks. Then more police brutality against black people. Protests, riots, looting, lost businesses, mom and pop stores destroyed, big companies destroyed, even though the chances are they're gonna be able to rebound more so than the smaller companies. 2020 has just been one ferocious movie right now, and I just don't know what to expect next. I hope that things kind of simmer from this point on, but like I said, I got a feeling I'm gonna turn the TV on and I'm just gonna see some stuff that I'm just not gonna be pleased about. So I think I had enough to say here. I want to give a big shout out to folks in the chat room here. Miss Mocha Bella, thank you for offering up some insight on what's going on in Miami. See the Chief Rocker Jersey Vern repping Built for This Network. Big Kev 303, thank you for coming in here. Also Key C from the Kicking It with Key C show, aka Professor X, repping the X Squad. Appreciate you letting us know what's going on in the ATL. And to the homie Maestro Styles, my podcast partner, he couldn't do this with me full time tonight. He had some things to do, but was able to call in and kind of give his perspective. So folks, make sure y'all check us out on social media. We got the Facebook page. We also have our Twitter handles. You can reach me at Barbershop SPOR2. You can reach Maestro Styles at Maestro Styles on Twitter and on Instagram at Maestro Styles. You can find me on Instagram also at Trey Fraser. Also the podcast you could find at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast on Instagram. Check us out on YouTube. I know we haven't been putting out a lot of content lately, but we're working on that. And so hopefully, with the right, tools, we'll be able to, get back into getting some content out there. So, but, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast on YouTube. And if you got any questions or comments about the show, you can email us at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So as I sign off, I'll reiterate again, be safe. If any of you guys that are listening or in the chat room are thinking about going to any of these protests in your city, be safe, be smart, go there with a purpose, be passionate about your causes, and don't do nothing silly, don't do nothing stupid, be smart, be proactive, and, be the solution to your communities. That's the key. That is the importance right now. Be the solution to your communities. We need to build up our businesses, our black businesses. We need to build up. We need to build up our self-esteem. We need a lot of things we need to build up. We can't destroy everything that's black owned. So as I sign off, y'all folks have a great evening, and hopefully we'll be back next week to talk about hopefully sports, but not so sure with the way things are going on. Y'all have a good night. Peace.